Alpesh Patel of Profilium Partners is here with us now this morning to go through the papers. Morning to you. Nice to see you again. Let's start then with the most appalling incidents that occurred on Friday morning in Connecticut, the heart of New England. And The Guardian, interestingly, says that despite this, the shooting range was open for business as usual. Yes,
if I move away from all the anger that everybody has rightly expressed about America's insane gun laws, their right to bear assault rifles, what I don't think any of us can understand is the simple lack of decency of not closing gun ranges, and that actually shows you what the mentality is. There is a whole group, supporters of the National Rifle Association, who will tell you that, and they will say with a straight face, that it's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. And they have this mindset, which is a pretty good indicator of who you don't want actually to have guns. But actually what infuriates me about this is not just I say the insanity of what's happened on Friday. President Obama said something must be done. Let's be absolutely clear. He's totally impotent to do anything against the NRA, who are far more powerful than the American president on this. Now, he's an African man. Nobody anywhere has reported how many children throughout Africa have died due to small arms fire, let alone machine guns, over the last 48 hours. And I don't understand why African lives, for instance, are a heck of a lot cheaper than American lives. It is a tragedy in America. There's a tragedy which is going on around the world. If he wants to do something, he should look, as America usually does when it wants to solve problems, beyond its borders alone.
Did you not get the impression, given the strength of his language, did you not get the impression that he was determined, this being the fourth such tragic incident in his presidency, that he's determined to actually take on the NRA lobby?
He can take on the NRA lobby as much as he likes. He won't succeed. It's not how Washington power works.
Why are you so sure about that, Alpesh? You say that he's completely impotent. Why are you so sure that,
because the legislation,
this event being the fourth in his presidency, but being one of many, many over the years, is not now? The argument is not getting stronger. That would be
the argument's incredibly strong amongst those of us who count ourselves as sane. The problem is there's enough money out there sitting in the pockets of US congressmen who will vote according to the way the money goes, and who will block legislation. There are enough groups such as the NRA who will make this a constitutional issue and take it to the Supreme Court and say that this is contradictory. Any restriction on their gun rights is contradictory to their right to bear arms and under the American Constitution. Power in America doesn't actually reside with who you would think is the world's most powerful man. Actually tends to be very atomized and rests with the lobby groups and with individual members of Congress. It's a very peculiar political system.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I bet I'm right.
Go on then, let's move on to the International Herald Tribune. Syria attacks Palestinian refugee area from the sky. It talks about families fleeing in panic as government airstrikes hit camp for the very first time. Obviously, this is spreading beyond the borders.
Well, actually, this is it is. Although this is a refugee camp within Syrian borders, but they've come from outside the borders, of course, fleeing from the conflict with Israel. And as one of their number said, Assad has killed more of us today than Israel did in the latest Gaza conflict. And it puts a lie to the fact that the Syrian government is a protector of fellow Muslims. It is a protector of the Palestinian cause, because clearly it is not. Now, if you were to go to Damascus, you would see the grave of Saladin, the great unifier amongst Muslims. And I think if Muslims were able to unify to save each other, they might be able to protect themselves from outside forces who they often complain about are out to kill them. But at the moment they're killing each other, and that's the first problem they need to resolve, is to stop killing each other before they look beyond their borders and say, well, what about Israel? What about all these other conflict areas around the world? And this is what's sad about this, that it should also happen at the death place, the funeral ground of Saladin.
And also, it kind of indicates, doesn't it, that the Syrian conflict, above all others in the Middle East of late, is actually likely to change the affiliations, the traditional affiliations within the Middle East.
Yes, the cause for this apparently is that those who in Palestine were backing the Assad government may have switched to the rebel side, and hence you've seen that no longer will Assad protect them because they're not supporting him. How refugees can matter to his base, it suggests there is just an evil intent. As opposed to the fact that what could they possibly do from women and children from a refugee camp? And I hope there is an outcry in the Muslim world first and foremost against him, but there isn't. There won't be. There won't be in Iran. There won't be throughout Afghanistan. There won't be amongst the Taliban. None of them seem to care for Muslim lives as they claim to do.
All right, let's now move on to the Financial Times front page. Price tag of £1 billion on military airwaves. This is according to industry sources that the FT's been privy to, saying the Treasury looks to raise that much by selling Ministry of Defence airwaves. And this is a lot to do with getting us on the 4G path, is it?
Yes, well, you'll remember when about 12 years ago we were both talking about this at Bloomberg when 3G licenses were sold,
it very well.
And Vodafone nearly went bankrupt because in the clever auction that the government had, the sums of money which were raised were phenomenal. So this is a windfall. It's lucrative. Sadly, I suspect that £1 billion doesn't go very far once you aggregate how much debt interest payment we're paying as a nation.
But the auctioning of the 4G licenses or what have you is such an important element, isn't it, for Chancellor George Osborne, who's using it in his calculations to show that he'll be able to get our debts down just in the next 12 months. It's a very short-term fix, isn't it? And it's very important to him.
Sadly, it's a one-off payment. I wonder if they'll be able to do it in some way where they'll get ongoing license fees, and so they're not just selling the bandwidth for an initial sum, but there's an ongoing revenue coming in, and not just taxation of the telcos, because we all know from our phone bills how much we pay to the telco companies. So I don't mind them paying quite a bit back to the Exchequer's coffers.
All right, let's move on now to a lovely picture of Kate Middleton, fully recovered, it would appear, presenting the award to Bradley, who we'll talk about just a little bit later. But interestingly, on the day, of course, that Jacinta Saldana is to be buried in southwestern India.
That's right, and I talked about at the top of this about decency. One of the decent things which has come out of this is that the Australian radio station, which employed the two presenters, the hoax callers, who we don't know how strong that causal link is between what they did and the death, but let's just say that the decency is that the Australian radio station has raised a fund for the family and the children, because she was a mother of 2 children, for this Indian nurse's family, and that's at least one act of decency that they've done.
But Indians have got really caught up in this case, haven't they?
There is. I've just come back from there last Monday, and there is, and in the Indian newspapers over here, there is some coverage, but there certainly isn't anger. I think there's just sorrow that it actually ever happened, and that it. Like the presenter said, it was completely unforeseeable, and it is tragic because she's a mother.
Now, Bradley Wiggins, he got it, and it wasn't clear who would. There were just so many unbelievable contenders this year. I mean, it was incredible listening to their stories again, seeing the pictures again of the likes of Mo Farah and Jessica Ennis and the others.
I'm shocked Mo wasn't even in the top 3. By the way, this is a tribute to Bradley. See, again, talking about decency, just the man knows how to dress. You saw his pocket handkerchief. I'm hoping that I might be in the running for newspaper review personality of the...
I think you have to grow sideburns first. Alpesh Patel, thank you very much indeed. And thank you very much for being with us.
See you soon. Bye-bye.